Hey, this is Steve Kay of Cattle Buyers Weekly with some comments about the Cattle on Feed report released about 27 minutes ago by U.S. Department of Agriculture. If you haven't heard them, the numbers for the U.S., feedlots 1,000 head and over, of course. Cattle on Feed, November 1, 11.134 million. That's 101.5% of a year ago, 1.5% up. Placed in October, 2.474 million. 101.5 again, up 1.5%, and marketed in October 1.755 million, 96.7% of a year ago. Not much to get excited about in this report. I would think the market on Monday regarded as pretty neutral. October marketings were 1% or more below most forecasts, but the month did have one less slaughter day than last year. So on a daily basis, those marketings came in above a year ago. October placements were slightly lower than forecast, so that's probably slightly positive to the market out into the spring. Although they were above year-ago levels for the fourth month in a row, but there's not much in it, only a few thousand. Now, feedlots placed slightly more lighter than heavier weight cattle in contrast to September, so we saw a reduction in the number of yearlings available, of course. Although the lightest category of under 600 pounds, understandable, saw the biggest year-on-year decline in numbers, a total of 85,000 less. Perhaps people were feeling that there might be a little bit heavier winter coming on. They didn't want to place younger cattle. So the split in the weight category under 700 pounds saw 1.26 million head placed. That was down 55,000 or 4.2% from last year. So all of the big increase was in the 700 pound and over category, which saw 1.214 million placed, up 91,000 or 8.1%. So in a sense, we're still loading those placements to the front end of the market, and I still have concerns about the number of cattle that are going to be coming to market, probably even starting in December, but certainly in January and February. February and March are the two weakest demand months of the year, and most analysts say that we're going to produce at least 1 to 1.5% more beef in the first quarter. So I have some concerns. I think the balancing or ameliorating factor right now that I see is that carcass weights are coming down dramatically. Whether they continue to decline as significantly as they did the last week of October, the first week of November remains to be seen. But certainly if we can really take some weight off those cattle, that will help balance those larger numbers coming to market. Now, that smaller than expected marketing number and the smaller than expected placements meant that the November 1 cattle on feed total was, as I say, at 1.5% higher than last year, very close to expectations. It's the second month in a row that it's been above a year ago, since a year or so ago. If you look at the state breakdown of the cattle on feed totals, Texas was up 1%, Kansas and Nebraska are up 4%, so there's a bunch more cattle there. Colorado up 8%, and Iowa up a whopping 11%. That continues its trend. Last month, its cattle on feed number was up 8%, so it's continuing to place more cattle. Other states with larger totals a year ago, Oklahoma and South Dakota. And understandably, Iowa again had the largest percentage increase in placements. They were up 18% on last year. Texas and Kansas marketings, conversely, were each down 4%. I mention that because it both does reflect the smaller numbers that were on feed in the Southern Plains placed against October. But I think it also hints to me that feedlots might need to increase their marketings the rest of November. And the last couple of weeks, it seems like Texas, in particular, hasn't marketed quite enough cattle. Certainly not this week, I don't think. And I think that they'll need to start raising their marketing rate a little bit. One reason I say that is that the kill today came in slightly lower than expected at 631, and that followed a 629 kill last week. So, the kills the first 2 weeks of, 625 last week. So the first a couple of weeks or 3 weeks of November, we've seen a sharp reduction in the kills, and that's potentially a danger for a carryover. In addition, packers this week have been talking about running only 4 days next week, which is the Thanksgiving shortened week. That means that the kill could be as small as 540, 515 if they only killed 4 days. I suspect they'll kill some more on Saturday, but maybe if they only killed 30,000, that's 545. Last year we killed 570, so we'll have a smaller kill next week, and that's really a reflection, again, of what I keep hammering at, that whatever the supply side says, beef demand remains weak. The cutout values have really gone nowhere in the last couple of weeks. They've remained flat, likely to remain so, but that's as long as the packer keeps reducing production, and that's not necessarily positive for fed cattle marketings. That's it for this month. I wish everybody a very happy and joyful Thanksgiving with their families and friends next Thursday, and we'll talk to you again next month.